Weddings. They're supposed to be picture-perfect moments, aren't they? A dazzling celebration of love, meticulously planned down to the last petal and champagne flute. We envision laughter, dancing, heartfelt toasts, and an overwhelming sense of joy permeating every corner of the venue. But beneath that beautiful, meticulously crafted fairy tale, transforming joyful anticipation into quiet discomfort, or even outright frustration for your closest friends and family. We're not talking about major disasters, but rather a collection of subtle missteps easily overlooked in the whirlwind of wedding planning that can inadvertently make your most cherished guests feel utterly unwelcome, overlooked, or even taken for granted. We're about to unveil 10 such missteps designed to illuminate the path to a truly hospitable and memorable wedding for everyone involved. Imagine your guests, or perhaps they arrive at the first venue only to discover the reception is miles away at a completely different location. This is the invisible maze of logistics gone wrong. The problem isn't just a lack of clarity, it's a failure to anticipate the guest journey. Confusing directions, multiple venues without clear guidance, or a complete absence of transport information can turn what should be an exciting arrival into a stressful scavenger hunt. Guests find themselves pulling over to frantically search Google Maps, making phone calls, or simply driving in circles. Their initial excitement slowly eroding into annoyance. They might arrive late, flustered, and already feeling behind, spending precious celebration time navigating unfamiliar roads or crowded parking lots rather than enjoying the pre-ceremony mingling. This logistical oversight communicates, however, unintentionally, that their ease of arrival wasn't a priority, setting a tone of inconvenience right from the start. It's a subtle yet significant barrier to their full enjoyment, forcing them to solve problems rather than simply relax and celebrate. Then there's the thirsty surprise, the unexpected cash bar. Guests arrive perhaps after a long journey or a bustling ceremony, their minds already anticipating a celebratory drink. They picture clinking glasses, toasts, and the free-flowing spirit of a wedding reception. The assumption for many is that a wedding, especially one hosted by close friends or family, but then they step up to the bar, place their order, and are met with a polite but firm request for payment. The impact is immediate and palpable: awkwardness. Guests suddenly feel nickel-and-dimed, their celebratory mood dampened by the unexpected financial transaction. It's not necessarily the cost of a drink or two, but the surprise and the feeling that something fundamental to the guest experience has been overlooked or deliberately withheld. This misstep can lead to guests limiting their drinks, feeling less inclined to mingle freely, or even quietly resenting the unexpected expense. It shifts the focus from joyous celebration to a transactional exchange, subtly eroding the generosity and warmth that should define such an occasion. The spirit of celebration becomes constrained, replaced by a quiet calculation of costs, making guests feel less like cherished attendees and more like customers. Following closely on the heels of the cash bar is the Hunger Games. Unforgivable food gaps. Imagine arriving at a wedding mid-afternoon, having skipped lunch in anticipation of the reception, only to find hours passing between a brief cocktail hour and the main meal. Or perhaps the portions served are so minuscule they barely qualify as a snack. Even worse, consider the guest with a severe allergy or dietary restriction who finds their specific needs completely disregarded, leaving them with no safe options. The problem isn't just about hunger, it's about basic human comfort and consideration. Long stretches without food, tiny portions, or a complete disregard for dietary restrictions can lead to hangry guests experiencing physical discomfort and a growing sense that their basic needs were an afterthought. Their stomachs rumble, their energy wanes, and their focus shifts from enjoying the event to wondering when and where they might finally get something substantial to eat. This oversight communicates a lack of foresight and care, making guests feel like an anonymous part of a crowd rather than individuals whose well-being is considered. When guests are physically uncomfortable, their ability to fully engage and celebrate is severely compromised, leaving them with a memory of discomfort rather than delight. The wedding day, for guests, can quickly morph into an endurance test, especially when it comes to uncomfortable waiting and seating arrangements. Picture an excessively long ceremony stretching beyond an hour, perhaps even two, with guests sitting on hard, unpadded chairs, or worse, standing for extended periods. Add to this the indignity of being left exposed to extreme weather elements, scorching sun beating down, a sudden chill wind, or even unexpected rain with no cover provided. The problem here is a lack of empathy for the physical comfort of attendees. The impact is profound. Restlessness sets in, followed by physical pain and a growing, desperate desire for the event to simply end. Elderly guests might struggle with the prolonged sitting or standing, children become fidgety and disruptive, and even the most patient attendees will find their minds wandering from the heartfelt vows to the aching in their backs or feet. This kind of discomfort is a powerful distraction, undermining the solemnity and joy of the occasion. It sends a message that the couple's vision for the ceremony, however beautiful, takes precedence over the basic well-being of those who have come to witness it, leaving guests feeling like they've endured a trial rather than attended a celebration. Particularly sensitive area that can make guests feel deeply unwelcome is overlooking plus ones and children. The problem often lies in unclear invitation rules regarding significant others or children, leading to awkward social situations and genuine hurt feelings. An invitation addressed only to Ms. Jane Doe when Jane has been in a long-term committed relationship, or a child-free wedding where guests are left scrambling for childcare, can create immense stress and resentment. The impact is immediate, and personal guests feel their chosen companions are unwelcome, their family unit disregarded, leading to a sense of disrespect and alienation. They might be forced to attend alone, leaving a loved one behind, or decline the invitation altogether due to childcare issues. This oversight communicates a lack of understanding or value for the guest's personal life and relationships. It can make guests feel that their presence is desired only on the couple's specific restrictive terms, rather than as whole individuals with their own lives and loved ones. The joy of celebrating is overshadowed by the awkwardness of navigating social boundaries that feel arbitrarily imposed, leaving a lasting impression of being less than fully accepted. Moving from personal relationships to financial expectations, we encounter the registry racket, overbearing gift pressure. While registries are a helpful tool, the problem arises when they transform into aggressive demands for specific, often expensive gifts. This can manifest as multiple registries across high-end stores, a honeymoon fund that feels less like a suggestion and more like an obligation, or even direct requests for cash. The impact is clear. Guests feel like ATMs rather than loved ones. Implicit or explicit pressure to contribute a certain amount or purchase an item far beyond their budget. This misstep fundamentally misunderstands the spirit of gift-giving at a wedding, which is meant to be a token of love and good wishes, not a transactional requirement to fund the couple's lifestyle. It diminishes the heartfelt gesture, leaving guests with a bitter taste and the feeling that their presence is valued less than their wallet. Endless ceremonies and speeches. While every couple wants to personalize their ceremony and acknowledge loved ones, like soliloquies can test the patience of even the most devoted guest. This is often compounded by an endless stream of rambling speeches at the reception, where speakers lose their way, share inside jokes that exclude most of the audience, or simply speak for far too long. Guests mentally check out, their attention wandering, their eyes glazing over, and their minds yearning for the next phase of the evening. What was intended to be heartfelt and meaningful becomes an exercise in endurance. This misstep demonstrates a lack of awareness of the audience's attention span and comfort, transforming moments that should be touching and memorable into an exercise in patience. It communicates that the couple's desire for self-expression outweighs the guests' desire for an engaging and dynamic celebration. Another subtle yet impactful misstep is the fashion faux pas impractical dress code demands. The problem here isn't just about formality, but about imposing a strict, expensive, or venue-inappropriate dress code that puts undue burden on guests. Think of a black tie optional wedding held outdoors in a field or a garden party, chic request for a December wedding in a cold climate, or even simply a requirement for specific hard-to-find colors or styles. The impact is multifaceted. Guests experience stress over finding the right attire, often incurring significant financial burden to purchase or rent something they may never wear again. Beyond the practicalities, they might ultimately feel out of place or physically uncomfortable if the attire clashes with the venue's reality or the weather. This misstep suggests a prioritization of aesthetic vision over guest comfort and financial accessibility. It can make guests feel that their appearance is more important than their presence, forcing them into an unnecessary expenditure and potential discomfort. When guests are worried about their clothes or feeling out of place, it detracts from their ability to relax and fully immerse themselves in the celebration, turning what should be a joyous occasion into a sartorial challenge. Perhaps one of the most disheartening experiences for a guest is encountering the ghost hosts. No personal connection. The problem is simple. The couple, caught up in the whirlwind of their big day, they might never get a chance to congratulate the couple, share a brief word, or feel acknowledged beyond a collective wave from the dance floor. The impact is significant. Guests feel unappreciated, overlooked, and genuinely wonder why they even bothered to attend. They've traveled, spent money on gifts and attire, and dedicated their time only to feel like an anonymous face in the crowd. It makes guests feel that their effort to be there was taken for granted, and that their individual presence was not truly valued. A wedding is a deeply personal event, and when the personal touch is missing from the hosts, it leaves guests feeling disconnected and undervalued. We arrive at the abrupt exit, rushed or non-existent farewells. After hours of celebrating, dancing, and witnessing the union, guests begin to trickle out. The problem is when they leave without a proper thank you, a handshake, a hug, or any form of farewell from the happy couple. The couple might be too busy dancing, taking photos, or simply exhausted. But the impact on departing guests is profound. They feel dismissed, unacknowledged, and that their effort to celebrate was ultimately taken for granted. They've invested time, emotion, and resources into being there, and a simple, personal goodbye can make all the difference. Without it, the grand celebration ends on a quiet, unceremonious note for them, leaving them with a sense of anticlimax or even mild offense. This misstep, often born of exhaustion or oversight, undermines the entire spirit of hospitality. It's the final impression, and a lack of a personal farewell can leave guests feeling unappreciated, as if their presence was a given rather than a cherished choice, making the memory of the day feel incomplete and somewhat hollow, as we've explored. Seemingly small details easily overlooked in the monumental task of planning a wedding wield immense power in shaping a guest's experience. From the clarity of directions to the warmth of a farewell, each point contributes to whether your loved ones feel truly welcomed and cherished or subtly inconvenienced and undervalued. A wedding isn't just about achieving picture-perfect moments for the couple. Their comfort, their enjoyment, and their feeling of being appreciated are just as vital to the success of the day as the perfect dress or the beautiful flowers. Consider these points not as criticisms, but as opportunities to ensure that your special day is remembered not just for its beauty, but for its genuine hospitality, its warmth, and for making everyone who attended feel truly loved and part of something truly special.